This is a clip from an earlier live stream. I know you're going to like it, so the link to the full video is down below. Check it out. I'll see you over there.
Turning Point and I obviously had a long speaking arrangement, a speaking contract, which was still in effect when Charlie was assassinated. We've had a contract to speak going back to 2019, 2020. So obviously, given Charlie's assassination and the direction that my investigation took into what happened on that day, we moved to terminate that agreement, which was supposed to go on for another couple of years. So naturally, to give them credit, because this is a bit different from Wolves in Finance, them going after a YouTuber who has no relationship with them. Naturally, in any contract relation, there is standard NDA agreement that you come to. It's just kind of written in there. You're not going to disparage me. You're not going to defame me. And so they are, broadly speaking, making the allegation here that my investigation into who killed Charlie Kirk is naturally disparaging. And hey, you accepted our money. You took our money for years while Charlie Kirk was alive. So we're executing on this. You're not allowed to disparage us for another 12 months since we canceled that agreement. So the letter reads, and I'm Xing out the beginning parts that just says LLC names and stuff. And I'm also not going to reveal their lawyers' names. I don't think it's necessary. On video calls on December 4th, 2025, this was obviously pertaining to us.
Why is it not necessary? Why is it not necessary? Any other time, all this stuff is necessary to you. Any other time, you gave us the school that Charlie may have attended when he was 6 years old. That was unnecessary. You gave us all this other unnecessary information. Why don't you give us that? This woman, there's no equal weights and measures. There's no even, you don't know which way she's going to go. I just knew she was going to give us everything. I just knew it, but some reason she didn't. I wonder why she's not. I want to kind of see the whole letter. No, maybe you should give us the whole thing, but I digress.
It's ending our contract, our termination. We terminated our contract. And December 15th, I requested a retraction of Ms. Owens Farmer's disparaging statements and again provided notice that the injuries caused by her statements are substantial and continuing to accrue.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Back that up real quick. Did y'all catch that? Hold on. Did y'all catch that? Let me see. Did anybody catch that? Let me play it again just so you can hear what she said.
Termination. We terminated our contract. And December 15th, I requested a retraction of Ms. Owens Farmer's disparaging statements and again provided notice that the injuries caused by her statements are substantial. And
did you hear that? It says it right there. On video calls on December 4th, 2025 and December 15th, 2024, I requested retraction. Candace never told us that. When she came back from the interview, the conversation with Erica, they talked about everything else, talked about nail polish colors and how they pack their kids' lunches and this, that, and the other. She didn't say anything about that. That would have been a big deal when she came back on the 16th. Why did she not mention that? Okay, just seems odd. Again, another one of Candace's oh, here's a piece of information. Y'all don't really need it. I won't share it with you, but I'll mention it in passing.
Continuing to accrue. Ms. Owens Farmer has declined to issue a retraction. To the contrary, she has stated that she, quote, doesn't feel any differently about people that she mentioned on the show, and she thinks that there are shady people at Turning Point USA. Yeah, so I guess I didn't know this, but I was supposed to, according to them, when we had that meaningful discussion, which I was appreciative that we had this open book discussion. I sat down with Erica and Justin Strife, but that I was supposed to come out and say they're amazing and nobody and everybody didn't do nothing. That's it. Cause they're wonderful people. Why would I change my mind because we had a discussion? I came out and I told the truth and things that were answered. And actually what ended up happening was you conceded points to me. Anyways, it goes on. As a consequence, her statements are continuing to cause harm to Turning Point USA. We are currently working to...
I think that's a typo where it says 2024. I think that's a typo. I've seen typos and I found typos in Wolves and Finances too. So I think that's what it is.
calculate the full extent to date of the still accruing damages. Okay, so someone's with a calculator and they're calculating. I'm wondering if there's a spreadsheet running of the damage that's being done by Turning Point USA themselves. Like Andrew Colvett, if we're going to sue anybody for accruing damages, like if I'm running the company, I'd go with Andrew Colvett first. Brian Harpole, that's a lot happened there with that car crash interview. Am I being punished because you lied? And I realized it or something, and somehow we have this contract that we've had for years, and now it's like, well, you're not allowed to see us do anything bad because remember we paid you. Goes on, in my December 2nd letter, I highlighted Ms. Owens.
This is some high level chaos. She has, in that little soliloquy right there, she threw out 5 different things that made me think, what in the devil are you talking about? Now, I'm sitting there paying close attention to it. I can imagine what Cantifa is doing with this information. They're probably losing their minds because she threw out she said Brian Harpole in a car accident. What are you talking about? That somebody with Andrew Colvett got thrown in there, spreadsheets, calculating what TPUSA. She did all of that in that little tiny block of space. This is the chaos stuff that we've been talking about forever, where she just literally deluges you with information to the point that you almost throw in a towel and just say, whatever.
Is Farmer's ongoing contractual obligation not to make any disparaging, false, misleading, or otherwise defamatory comments about Turning Point USA and or its employees, agents, directors, officers, affiliate programs, or services. See speaking agreement, blah, blah. Owens Farmer freely undertook this obligation in exchange for payment by support from and access to Turning Point USA. Her obligation remains in effect for 12 months following the term of her agreements, which were terminated on December 2nd, 2025. Since that letter, Turning Point USA's executives have repeatedly made themselves available via phone, text, and in-person meetings to provide information and documentation. That's just not true. I mean, I'm speaking to one person at Turning Point USA.
This sounds like to me, and I'm not a legal expert at all, this sounds like to me, not a cease and desist per se, but more like you violated the terms of a contract, therefore we are firing you or excising the contract. That's what that sounds like a whole lot more to me than a true bona fide, you did these things in other. Now, maybe it is, and again, I've not read every type of cease and desist letter. This just seems a whole lot more like you violated a contract. You broke faith in a contract that you agreed to do one thing and you didn't do it. That's what that sounds like. This is what this is sounding like to me.
And we had that sit down. To Ms. Owens Farmer, in the hopes that providing her with the truth would get her to stop disparaging Turning Point USA in violation of the parties' contracts. Yet, notwithstanding the reminder that my letter provided to Ms. Owens Farmer of her obligations and the good.
Okay, thank you, Kelly Bagwell. Am I right? Is this more like, again, I'm a pre-K law student. That means I know nothing. This doesn't sound like a cease and desist. It sounds more like you broke a contract. Is that fair, Kelly? I'm just looking real quick. Yeah, Kelly, I'm just looking. That's what this is giving to me, as the kids would like to say. As a lawyer, she broke her contract. That's what I'm getting. This is not. Now, I mean, maybe breaking a contract is the same as a cease and desist. It's possible, I guess. I don't know. They didn't have that episode on Law and Order. Okay, they didn't have the breaking contract or cease and desist episode of Law and Order. But that's what this is sounding like to me. And I could be wrong. And I definitely I'm looking for your comment.
Faith efforts made by Turning Point USA's leadership to answer her many questions, she has continued to make statements in violation of her contractual obligations in a manner that is reckless, knowing, and intentional. For example, she has published a list of lies that she attributes to Turning Point USA, and she has stated that there is definitely financial impropriety at the company. Which lie on our Turning Point USA list of lies did they correct? Nothing. They gave an excuse for the lies.
This is one of the other things. And Kelly says this, yes, this is a violation of contract, which is still not good at all for Candace. This is one of the other things. Thank you so very much, Kelly. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for being a supporter of the channel. Another thing that Candace chooses to do, and maybe this is why we've been watching those body cam footage, where somebody tries to adjudicate their case on the side of the road. Let me see the body cam footage. I wasn't speeding. Let me see the camera. Let me see the radar. Who said I ran through that red light? Stuff like that, where they want to fix it like literally on the side of the road. And they think that they can be judge and jury over evidence right there on the side of the road, and it doesn't work. I heard an officer say, you may beat the charge when you go before the judge, but you're not going to beat the ride. You're going to take that ride. And that's the thing with Candace, is like, she wants to judge and rule over everything right here in the public square, not in the court where it's supposed to be, not the court of popular opinion, but the actual judicial legal court location. I just think that's amazing. Let's go.
And I told the public about the excuse. They said, Andrew went rogue. Andrew did this. I don't know why he said that. I don't know why they said that. They have conflicting answers about the drones. Brian Harpole says this. Andrew Colvett says this. Their lawyer says that. So what am I doing wrong by tracking that? Isn't the issue that you lied? Not the issue that the public noticed? There's not a single thing that they cleared up that I then said, oh, okay, I just completely had that wrong on our list of lies. They conceded. Erica came out and said, Charlie, I had his phone. He never said the night before that he was afraid he was going to die. She said that on Glenn Beck. They then get in front of me. They say, okay, yeah, no, he did. I didn't know because it was in a special, app. Yeah, he also messaged Dan Flood. I didn't know because we're not talking to Dan Flood. Okay. What am I missing here?
I know you liked that episode. This is actually a clip from a larger live stream. The link is down in the description, so you can go check it out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you down there. Grace and peace.